Welcome to EPG Padshala. Today I am going to talk to you about education and labor. This is Manjunath working as a lecturer in the subject of sociology in the Department of Pre-University Education, Bangalore. This module of education and labor is a part of the paper entitled Education and Society in the subject of sociology. In this module, an attempt is made to analyze the relationship between education and labor. The type of education one receives has a close impact on the nature of work one takes up. The two activities are mutually independent and also influence each other. Education is one of the major social institutions which helps people to learn their culture and socialization. Etymologically speaking, the word education is derived from the Latin word educare, which means to bring up. Webster defines education as the process of educating or teaching. Education provides the skills required for people to work in a particular company. Education is one of the basic institutions in all human societies. The continued existence of our society depends upon the transmission of culture of that society from one generation to another. It is essential that knowledge relating to the values, beliefs, and livelihood practices must be passed from one generation to the next. Education also transmits members of a society to adapt and adjust with the ways of world around. The term labor can be used interchangeably with words like work or occupation. Labor is a productive human work which includes both physical and mental work. In the ancient societies, labor was based on simple terms like age and gender, but today, in this modern world, education has become very complex. Whenever we think of education, we are generally reminded of the activity that goes on in schools, colleges, and research institutions. But education, in its broader perspective, means much more than this. As a process, education is a continuous activity that goes on throughout one's life. Education creates an opportunity for every human being to identify and develop those potentialities which are required for sustained growth of human societies through a process referred to as socialization. What takes place in schools and colleges is a structured environment and based on a well-defined curriculum and class schedule is referred to as formal education. However, there exists in the formal setting a scope for informal training, as learning can take place in informal settings even in a formal institution. In fact, what the pupil learns outside the classroom may have a more significant bearing on personality development than that learning which takes place in classroom settings. Formal education generally has a desired end and is imparted in rigid settings. But out of school experiences are equally important in widening our knowledge about real life situations. Informal education denotes the deliberate, spontaneous, lifelong process of learning that takes place in all situations. The term labor is interchangeably used with words like work and occupation. Labor, in its more general sense, refers to productive human work, which includes both physical and mental work. It refers to the economic resource that includes all forms of human effort, which results in the production of a good or service in exchange for a wage or salary. In early human societies, based on food gathering and hunting economies, labor was not compensated by wages, but the benefits emanating from labor were shared between members. The principle of barter or exchange of goods for goods and services governed human society. In any society, labor is the life. Hence, without labor, no human being can survive or prosper. However, forms of labor differ from one society to another, from one culture to another. There are also regional variations in the type of labor one performs. In tribal societies, for example, labor exists in a very simple form. Work is distributed among its members on the basis of a system of simple division of labor. It is based on such factors as gender and age. In this type of society, also education plays an important role in determining the nature of work its members perform. In simple societies, a particular task was assigned to an individual by a group by taking into account his or her skills, physical capacity, experience. As societies grew larger and more complex, labor became more specialized. Here, work roles are clearly defined and based on a very complex division of labor. In modern societies, educational qualification, degrees, mastery, or expertise in a particular stream are all important in order to get work. Each person becomes an expert at doing just a few things or even just one thing. Specialization makes workers more productive. Occupational development as well as gaining expertise are directly related to education. In modern society, there is a close association between labor and formal education. Birth into a particular caste either conferred the villages to engage in certain occupations or denied that opportunity to others. It is only after the advent of modern education and efforts by social reformers that occupations started opening up all castes. However, even to this day, especially in rural areas, the stigma attached to certain types of work still continues, and only groups placed in the lower ranks of the caste hierarchy are forced to perform these tasks. Prominent examples being scavenging, skinning, or clearing and carrying night soil. The relationship between education and labor has been brought out by Young by identifying four major functions of education. These are transformative function. Education transmits values and skills that are required for sustenance of a social system. By doing so, preserves social order. When these values and skills become obsolete with the passage of time, new skills and values replace them. With the growth of modern economy, socio-economic structures become more complex and specialized. Education is also called upon to turn out trained personnel equipped with information, knowledge, skills, and values required for fulfilling a variety of new roles and jobs, and also at different levels. Thus, the economy as a consumer of educated product wields considerable influence on the levels, specializations, and content of education. This is usually achieved through the political, administrative, apparatus. The knowledge, skills, and values acquired through education not only meet the education needs of economy, they are also permitted with social content corresponding to the existing socio-economic and political structure and the consequent social stratification and distribution of power in society. Another key function of education is the allocative function. The educational process, with its different specializations, different levels, and certification process, lays down the standards for not only measuring a person's expertise in a given field but also deciding who can do what type of work. In that sense, it legitimates the existing distribution of positions, the resulting out socio-economic gains and power allocations by convincing the losers or relative losers that their failure in life is due to their failure to acquire or reach a certain level of education. Since the acquisition of a particular job status is associated with the possession of certain abilities, which only education can bestow, the value placed on education rises. It is this situation which creates a greater demand for specialized courses, which in turn leads to the expansion of educational system. The third function of education is the differentiation function. Education prepares individuals for a particular style of life characteristic of a status group. It acts as a differentiating agency as it seeks to maintain and supply appropriately socialized individuals to each strata. Such a differentiating function is more pronounced in a society with a rigid system of stratification. Since status is closely associated with the work one performs, education acts as a status giver in society. The selective function is more visible in open class societies. In such a system, achievement is connected with the positions that in their totality make up the social structure. Positions take their own shape from the habitual practice and cultural patterns of the institutions that compose the particular society. There are three things which follow accordingly. A. The positions appear to have certain performance. The positions appear to be separable from their incumbents. The positions are continually vacated and filled again, and the incumbent of the position associated with it must undergo the special socialization procedures that prepare for it. In that sense, education selects persons to occupy certain positions in society. In the current scenario, the relationship between education and labor is very complex. However, since the beginning of socialization, this relationship has existed in one form or the other. Further, in modern societies, the relationship between these two is assuming more dynamic and complex proportions. In the ever-changing economic scenario, access to many forms of employment has become extremely competitive, and market-driven forces have virtually seized the labor market. Today, upward occupational as well as social mobility is endorsed by education. Education largely defines the type of employment one has to take up. Since the selection of a job by a person or the selection of a person for a job is today the direct consequence of the level of specialization one is able to achieve through education. The relationship between education and labor becomes strongly day by day. In fact, it is education that prepares individuals to enter the labor force by equipping them with special skills and also instilling in them the capacity to meet the challenges of the job market. Education, on the one hand, includes vocation related training and on the other builds the different aspects of an individual personality. Education is frequently seen as a crucial policy instrument in the fight against economic deprivation, as it helps individuals to access better jobs that raise their financial capacities and thus contribute to the improvement in the quality of their lives. Education enhances productive capacities of not only prospective employees but also strengthens the capacities of employers. Worker competition is a situation which can have a positive impact on the labor quality. Education has a direct bearing on enhancing labor efficiency. The interrelationship between education and labor can be understated in more than one way. Some of the important phases of this relationship can be viewed as years of schooling. A considerable amount of work on the direct impact of education on labor deals with the number of years a person spends in school. There is indeed a direct relationship between the experience one acquires in work and years of schooling. Educational level attained. The educational level attained has net effects on occupational status. Higher the education level, the more substantial is the advantage one gains in his or her occupation. A college education, for example, opens up better opportunities for acquiring a higher occupational status than mere school level education. Attainment of a particular credential. Being a good worker is not just about acquiring a degree or diploma only. It is about acquiring certain credentials like values, habits, and aspirations, which are equally important in enhancing an employee's potential in a work situation. Education also has the capacity to build these credentials which enhance worker performance and behavior. Vocational credentials may specifically signify that an individual is formally qualified for a particular job, but in professions requiring certain higher level credentials or the role that education can play in personality building assumes greater significance. Certification mechanism. Both education and labor are systems that are mutually dependent, but for any employer to develop an organizational structure, support from an educational system that trains, qualifies, and certifies its stakeholders is necessary. In this sense, without properly equipping educational system, jobs can neither be created nor sustained. Investments in education help broaden access to education and hence facilitate access to skills. Skills enable persons to get better jobs and achieve higher standards of living. In this sense, skilled workers reinvest their knowledge and competence in economic development. The wage structures in the private sector reflect the impact of education on worker productivity more than they do in the private sector. A classic example is the change that has taken place in wage packages in the private sector during the last 20 years in India after the onset of liberalization era. Better educated people typically have lower unemployment rates as unemployment rates decline with increasing level of education. Moreover, those with higher educational attainment have greater ability to benefit from disequilibrium, while the least qualified workers are the most vulnerable to unemployment during economic downturns. At the individual level, increased education increases worker productivity, securing better employment and enhanced lifetime earnings for the individual. Individuals with higher education are more likely to be involved in work because of inherent intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. For example, more educated individuals are less likely to be involved in alienating repetitive labor and more likely to be involved in work that permits greater autonomy, creativity, and more novelty and opportunity. When there is a continued learning and personality growth, greater special support, which in turn enhances resilience to psychological distress, depression, and anxiety is created. Education appears to have positive effects on the state of workers' health. Higher education typically helps people to pursue occupations that involve lesser health risks while at the same time providing greater financial capacity to purchase better housing, nutrition, and health care. While analyzing the relationship between education and labor, you must also try to understand the changes taking place both in the education system and the employment sector as a result of the new jobs that are being created owing to the virtual invasion of technology into the sphere of labor. An excess supply of educated persons or the demand for their services has been a universal feature. In India, the problem can be traced to the British rule itself. With the introduction of a bureaucratic structure that placed demands for possession of certain credentials, a divide was created between those with and without these credentials. The problem implies a wasteful investment from the point of view of both the individual and state. When the state is not in a position to provide employment to individuals, investment on education results in a drain on the exchequer. In India, this problem assumed enormous proportions when there was an imbalance between the growth in the number of jobs and educational institutions. Educated unemployment has broader social implications such as devaluation of education, student unrest, and frustration among the educated due to unfulfilled aspirations. To complete this, here we can see that education and labor are how correlated and interdependent. The relationship between education and labor is as old as the human society. In this module, the relationship between the two has been reviewed in different situations from different perspectives. in the modern age, education influences labor in terms of selection of employees and also promoting them. Now we have attained a situation in which it is impossible think of labor without education. Degrees attained by a person in university matters a lot while obtaining a labor in a particular association. In this module, I have mentioned that the relationship between education and labor can be viewed through the four functions: transformative function, allocative function, differentiative function, and selective function. In the ancient times, education was imparted through small primary groups, but now it was handed over to the educational institutions specially equipped to train people for different types of work. The nature of education has changed according to the changes took place in working environment. Now work has no longer part of the family. It is handled by the professionals in a formal and professional way. Hence, today a person who wants to work has to have a formal education. Education has emerged as a factor that both certifies and is certified by the labor market expectations and the outcomes. Thank you.